Alright, here's the easiest way I know of to stir natural peanut butter, especially when it's in a large jar. Earlier I made a video showing to stir it with a paint stirrer and electric drill, and it worked, but it was messy and it was just too much effort. Here's what you do. First, you store the jar upside down. I put them on a cookie sheet just in case there's any oil that leaks out. You can see on the top of the jar how most of the peanut butter has fallen down. There's still areas that haven't. I use a knife, a bread knife. Now I've seen videos where people use a little small jar of peanut butter and they use a butter knife. Well, a butter knife won't work, it's too short. So you use a bread knife like this with a serrated edge, not a sharp one, just a regular knife. Now, you flip the jar over, remove the seal, take the lid off, and when you do, you got to be careful because it's going to be a little stuck like this. I take the knife and I scrape off as much of that as I can and put it in the top, just to keep everything neat and to make sure it's all in there. The next thing I do is I take the knife and I am going to stab, being careful not to have all of the oil come over the top of the jar. I stab in and just do a small twist and pull it out. And like the spokes on a wheel, or just whatever you want to call it, I go in a pattern around the jar, making sure not to let the oil go over the top because it's going to want to. And you stab and just do a little twist, and you do that a few times, and pretty soon there, just a big puff of air came out, and the peanut butter has dropped down and the oil's gone up. Once that happens, you can just stab, turn, twist the jar, stab, turn, twist the jar, stab, turn, twist the jar, stab, turn, twist the jar. Repeat that until you've gone around a few times, and well, until you've gone all the way around the jar. Next, after you've made it all the way around the jar, the next thing to do is to stab and then pull it all the way back and then raise it up. Go to a different part, stab, slide it all the way across and come up. Do that. Now you can see that the peanut butter is starting to stick to the knife. If that happens, just scrape along the edge of the knife to get it off the knife, and then resume what you're doing. After you have stabbed and slid it across, the next step is going to be to leave the blade flat, stab, slide. And what you're trying to do is scrape all of the oil. You're trying to scrape all of the peanut butter off of the corner in the bottom. Then I pull the knife out and I stab back through that large mass of peanut butter each time. And I just push it in and scrape. 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 And you go all the way around the jar that way. And now it's starting to be pretty stirred up. And so let me scrape the peanut butter off, and I'll just do a little refresher of what I've done. First, you just stab all the way around, then you stab and scrape with the blade lengthwise, then you turn the blade crosswise, stab and scrape. Once you've done that, which I've already done, then you just start stirring, start at the top. You do a stirring motion and work your way to the bottom. Now, this peanut butter is stirred, it's got an even consistency throughout, and once it's finished being stirred, I'll just scrape the knife off. Once it's finished, I'll put the lid on it and I'll put it in the refrigerator. The jar will be empty before it becomes separated again. Alright, so there you go. That is how I use a butter knife to stir a large jar of natural peanut butter. Just remember, start with it upside down, stab all the way around, let the air escape, scrape lengthwise, scrape widthwise, and then stir, and you're done. Hope that was helpful.